Hey guys, YouTuber 100 here. Alright, now here I am with my first video of the new year. Yeah. So, yeah. So the reason that it's kind of taking me a little while to really make a video now is because, yeah, as of late, just basically for the last week, I've been a little bit busy just going over what I'm going to be doing in this video. Yeah, because this is actually something that I've actually been wanting to do for a little while now. Yeah, because for a little while now, I have actually gotten the entire the WWF and WWE SmackDown game series. I've gotten the entire set now, and yeah, this is actually something I wanted to do for a little while now. What this video is basically going to be is this is just going to be kind of just a retrospective of the entire SmackDown video game series now, because yeah, of course, this series has really been regarded as one of the best wrestling video game series of all time, and yeah, and it really has become a fan favorite series for quite a lot of people. And yeah, and everybody has really just like everybody has really just seemed to really love the series. And yeah, people are there were a lot of people that really did keep up with the series as it was being released. Just when a new installment came out, everybody would get the game and they would play it. And yeah, and just yeah, and throughout the history of these games, everybody has always had their favorite game in the series, and people have really just talked about which games that they like more than others. And yeah, people have really just I've just been talking about how good the game is, or whether a game is not as good as another one, or what the game a new installment does better than the some of the previous ones, and yeah, just what everyone does different. And yeah, people have really just had their favorites, and yeah, they really just have said what they really do like about the games. Yeah, and so yeah, for this video, I'm really just going to be giving a retrospective on the series. I'm really just going to be going over every game in the series. It's kind of talking about each game and what I liked. And yeah, I'm pretty much just going to pretty much go through the series and just really talk about the entire series of it. Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, what this really is I'm not really going to be going into detail of every single feature every game has. What I'm just really going to be doing is just really talking about how well the game works, how good the game itself is, how the gameplay is, and just some of the some of the more what should I say, the more popular, or one of the the features that each game is really most well known for, and how well the game does it, and just yeah, and really just giving it some comparison to the other games, and yeah, just kind of just going over the series on talking about what I liked, and really just that's how I really feel it. Each game really does compare to every other one in the series. All right, yeah, because yeah, many people, I really was somebody that really did love this series, and yeah, I did play a lot of the games as they were coming out. Yeah, and I really did like them. And then yeah, then there was a time where I was getting disinterested in them, and then yeah, when it came time to the final game in the series, it was something that I really did like. But then yeah, then afterwards is when I stopped. Now, what this is really going to be going through, I'm not really like I'm not really going to be going into a certain time. There's going to be a cutoff time for this series. So yeah, it basically is going to be from the very first SmackDown game all the way through WWE 13, because yeah, a lot of people really do consider those two WWE games, WWE 12 and WWE 13, to still be a part of the series. So yeah, so I am going to be talking about those games too. But yeah, I'm not going to really be going into when it turned into the 2K series that's going on today, because really I just consider the 2K series to be a completely different series from the original SmackDown series altogether. So yeah, so it's basically going to be I'm going to be covering all the way from the first SmackDown game up to WWE 13. All right, so yeah, so I'm really not too sure really how long this video was going to be lasting, because yeah, there were a lot of games in the SmackDown series, so I'm not really too sure how long this video is going to be. I mean, this video might be going over an hour long. So yeah, as I'm recording this, I'm not really too sure, but of course, like if you're watching this video, you see the time down there, so you know how long this is going to be. So yeah, so I'm not really too sure how long this video is going to last, but yeah, depending on how long it is, like if you see that it does go for a long time, which it probably will, yeah, you might just want to sit back and go grab some popcorn and a drink, and yeah, just go for a quick whiz while you can, because yeah, I've got a lot to talk about. So yeah, but yeah, let me not waste any time. So yeah, let me just like get right into like talking about the SmackDown game series. All right. So yeah, the first SmackDown game was released in the early part of 2000, and it was published by THQ and developed by Ukes. And yeah, and really like what this game was really most well known for was like being like one of the first like wrestling games to really have like a much like a very easy control system, because yeah, prior to this game, particularly like for like wrestling games that were released on the PlayStation, just a lot of the wrestling games that were released for like the PlayStation prior to this one really just like had control schemes that really just were not very good and just were like so complicated. Like you had games like, of course, the WCW Nitro and Thunder games, and you did have like games like Warzone and Attitude, and yeah, and like with those games, just like the controls systems for those games, like they were just like so freaking complicated. You just like couldn't pull off like very like many moves, because it required just like all these complicated button controls and stuff. Like you just like had to like have like a like combos consisting of like pressing like several different buttons to like just pull off like very simple moves like a suplex. So yeah, but yeah, this game really did like change that, because yeah, for this game, it really like made it like where you can really just like pull off like a whole bunch of moves just like pressing one button. So yeah, so this game really was like the start of like when like you like could like have matches like at a very fast, enjoyable pace, and really like have some actually get like a lot of enjoyment out of it. Like prior to this game releasing was when also like when the N64 did have the WrestleMania 2000 game that was released like just a few months before this game was released, and yeah, that game of course was like very enjoyable, and that game did kind of like started as well. But yeah, for the PlayStation, yeah, this was like really like the first game to really like start that up, and yeah, you did have like just a very good control system, and yeah, and you could have like very good like very a very enjoyable time playing the game. Yeah, and it did have like a very good roster. Yeah, each game basically pretty much did have like the roster of like pretty much who was actually in the company at the time. Yeah, and like I said, you really did like have a much more enjoyable experience playing the game than you did like with a lot of the games that did come before. Or yeah, and it really did have like quite a lot of matches in there. Like you did like have like normal one-on-one matches, and you also could have like triple threat and fatal four-way tag matches and all that stuff. And it also did have like a lot of special matches where you could have like a cage match and a battle royal and an I Quit match and a Royal Rumble and yeah, all that other stuff in there. Yeah. Yeah, and it just really was like a very enjoyable game where you could just play all these matches and really just have a good time playing it. Yeah, and this game also did like have a season mode in it, which pretty much like it's really like never really did seem to end from what I have heard. Like for the season mode in the game, like I've like seen reviews from the people about this game just saying like pretty much the season mode just like really never ends, and it really just does kind of like just repeat itself as it like continues to go on. But and yeah, and it really never ends. Yeah, but there's really not a whole lot to the season mode in here. Like it doesn't really like follow any storylines or anything. It just like shows like you're in just any random match, and yeah, it just like really does a was just like continue to like play on, and you don't really like follow any story modes or anything. And yeah, and for most of the time you're kind of just like skimming the matches, and and it may like play like a cutscene in like at some point. But yeah, it really just is like for anybody. It's not really just like about you. Like the cutscenes don't just show you. Like the cutscenes will pretty much just like show any random person that is in the game. Yeah, but yeah, overall, like, yeah, playing for the season mode, I mean, it's fine. Like, yeah, I mean, yeah, there's not really anything in like special about it. Like, like I said, you don't really follow any stories or anything. It just like you just like see yourself in just like a bunch of random matches and stuff. But yeah, as you like play through the season mode, like there will be like some some unlockables for you to try to get. So yeah, so there is that and it does actually give you a reason to play through the season mode. Yeah, yeah. So the first SmackDown game, yeah. Of course, like it was like very revolutionary for like being the first wrestling game on the PlayStation to really have like a very good control system for it, and yeah, and you can just like really have a really nice time playing it. So yeah, and you and you really also can like really like go around all over the place, really fight, whether it's like backstage or on the streets or wherever it may be. So the game, yeah, it really was like very, very good. And yeah, I mean, graphics don't really like hold up, but yeah, it was from 2000. So I mean, are you really gonna expect that to really hold up? Yeah, yeah, but yeah, first SmackDown game, yeah, it was very good, and yeah, people still really do consider it like one of the best games of all time. I remember I did put it on like my top 10 wrestling games list I did like well over a year ago. So yeah, so I do like the game, and yeah, a lot of other people do too. So yeah, the first SmackDown game really was really good and a good start for the series, and yeah, and of course like it was very successful. Otherwise, yeah, that series it wouldn't have like gone on for as long as it did. So yeah, and then in the later part of the year in 2000, then they made a sequel, SmackDown 2 Know Your Role, and yeah, and this game was like still overall really loved too. Like yeah, it really you pretty much did still have the exact same control system that the first game did have. Yeah, and they also took like some um yeah this one did take a lot of aspect from the first game and did give it like a vast upgrade and stuff. Yeah, and and yeah, and like yeah, the game overall, like it was still pretty good overall. Like yeah, for both like the first two games, like as you like, it does have like a video opening consisting of like just full motion video with the SmackDown theme song playing, which was pretty cool. I mean, it was basically like what the PlayStation games like did like for the wrestling games. Like they would like have like just full motion video with like just music playing over it, and yeah, and you did have like the classic SmackDown theme playing over like just the opening videos of the first two games with like full motion video. Yeah, and what I really did like about this game was just like the main menu, like just as you're like as you when it like you're at the main menu and you're just like scrolling through it. Like for me, I don't know how it is for like other people, but yeah, for me it really does like give me like that old school PlayStation 1 feel. Just like yeah, I just felt like just a lot of games that I did play for the PlayStation, like it really did kind of like have the like kind of just like the feeling like with like the sound and the music and stuff that like are in the main menu on this game. Just yeah, the kind of music that's on like the main menu of this game, and just like the sound effect was like you're scrolling through the options. Yeah, it just really does give me like that signature PlayStation feel. Yeah, and like I said, like this game, it did upgrade like a lot of the aspects from the first game. And you did have like still like pretty much like a lot of all the matches that were in the first game, and yeah, and it did add in some other matches as well. Yeah, like in this match, like you of course still did have like the like just the regular matches, like the one-on-one, triple threat, tag team, fatal four-way and stuff. Yeah, and in this game, you also did have like matches like, of course, uh, the steel cage match, and yeah, it also did have like an I Quit match and a ladder match and a table match, special referee, and yeah, all those other matches in there. Yeah, and like I said, the gameplay still seems pretty much the same as the first game. Like, yeah, if you did play the first one, and if you do like play this one for the first time, yeah, you can pretty much just master the controls just like from the first second in. It pretty much like has like identical controls to the first SmackDown game. Yeah, and with this one, like it did also like have some other matches like added to it. Like you did have like a casket match added to this one, though. Yeah, the casket match in this game, it's not really all that well done, because yeah, and like in the casket match in this game, like you can actually use the casket as a weapon, and then you can bring it into the ring, and then yeah, it's like just you set it down, and then you just like hit your opponent, and you knock them into the casket, and then like it just automatically shuts, and yeah, you win. So yeah, the casket match really wasn't done particularly well in this game, but I mean, and yeah, I guess like just yeah, it was just the game just really didn't have the technology to really make it like as good or like as realistic as it that people thought it should be. Yeah, yeah, and I guess that's why like they didn't really like have this like be like stick around in the series for quite a while. Yeah, yeah, but yeah, and like I said, like it still does pretty much have everybody that was like on the roster at the time. Though, yeah, there is like a one person on from the roster from this time that is missing that you actually have to unlock in the game. I'll talk about that in just a minute. But yeah, and also like in this game, it also does like have like the Hell in a Cell in there. But yeah, for like the early games in the series, like the Hell in a Cell, it really didn't really look all that good. I mean, it really does just look like just a regular steel cage with a roof. Like it doesn't actually like like a. It's not actually the proper Hell in a Cell size. So yeah, that's something that is kind of like something that really was not very good about like some of the older like the earlier games in the series. Yeah. Yeah, but overall, with like the game, like the gameplay in here overall, like you still will like have a very enjoyable experience with the gameplay in this one. But one, yeah, like just yeah, when you're looking at the gameplay, like it's very good. But yeah, overall, just when it comes to like comparing this one to the first SmackDown game, I would say that the first SmackDown game is better, and it's mostly because of two things about this game. And I did like talk about this, like I said in the video that I did when I was like listed the top 10 best wrestling games. Yeah. And there's two things that really do make the first SmackDown game better than this one. The first one is the loading times, because yeah, when you compare like the loading times of like the first two games, just the first one has like much shorter loading times than the second game does. So yeah, so the first game does load faster than the second one. Yeah. And the second reason is because of just the pretty bad story season mode that this one has, because yeah, because for the season one in this game, like just when you like you can still like just skip through the matches of like just the wrestler that you're not playing as. But yeah, but yeah, the see, when you do skip through matches, like for like every match that you skip, like just it'll just have like the battling meters on screen, and you just like are watching them like drain out, and you just gotta like see that through like every match you skip, which yeah, that can get like pretty boring and annoying. Well, and yeah, and you just have got to watch that like just as you play through the season mode, and you just have to see it just like all the time for every match that you skip, and yeah, and you just have to watch that. And this was really like the only game that really did that, where like you like just like couldn't just like skip right through and just cut right to the next match. Like you actually had to watch the battling meters drain. So yeah, but yeah, this was the first game that did this, and yeah, and I guess like, that is because like a lot of people really did complain about just watching that throughout the whole season mode. Yeah, yeah, but yeah, you still do like have to play through the season mode to unlock some stuff, because yeah, like in the season mode, you got to play through it, because that's really how you do unlock Stone Cold. So yeah, Stone Cold was the guy that I was talking about, because yeah, Stone Cold is missing from the roster once you start playing the game, and you have to play through like the first month of season mode or so to unlock him. Yeah, and plus also you also do have to like play through the season mode to unlock stuff like uh certain matches like the TLC matches in this game, but you got to play through the season mode to unlock it. And even Shawn Michaels is in this game. So, I mean, you got to play through the season mode to unlock Shawn Michaels. Yeah, so it was interesting to see Shawn Michaels in the game. Yeah, yeah, and yeah, and I'm not exactly too sure how long the season mode does last in the game, but yeah, I'm not really sure if like it is a cut. There is a part where it just ends, or if it is like the first game and you like it is pretty much just non-stop. So yeah, I haven't actually like played through like the full season mode of either or game yet, so yeah, I'm not really too sure or like if there is like a part, there is like some point in the second game where the season mode does end, but yeah, you still do have to like play through it to unlock some stuff like the stuff I just named. Yeah, and I guess I should probably also mention that like the entrances for both the first two games, like they're not really like really like full on entrances. All it really is just like you see like their entrance video playing, and yeah, and then just the wrestler just end up like walking out in front of it, and yeah, and you just like see them walking in place, and it's supposed to be like they're walking down to the ring, but yeah, they're not really like a like actual entrances. Like they're just like walking in front of like their entrance video, and then just like walking in place, making it seem like they're walking to the ring. Yeah, yeah, but yeah, for like the first two games in the series, like just like they were getting it like off to a start, and yeah, just seeing like just like for what they could do at the time. Yeah, yeah. Despite the fact that like this game does have some drawbacks, like the season mode and the longer loading times on the first game, yeah, it is still a really good game. And yeah, and overall, I do like it. It is a good game, but yeah, just the main problem with it is really just its story mode. Like the the longer loading times really aren't that big of a deal, but yeah, for the season mode, yeah, that is really like the main flaw with this one. But overall, aside from like the season mode, it is still a pretty good game overall. So yeah, so yeah, the first two SmackDown games are like still really good, and yeah, like I said, just like a really huge step up from a lot of the other wrestling games that were coming out. Well, a lot of its predecessors at the time on the PlayStation. Yeah, yeah, and then with of course like with the success of the first two SmackDown games. With the success of the first two SmackDown games, of course, like that same year in 2000 was, of course, when then like the next generation PlayStation console was released, which of course was the PlayStation 2. Yeah. And then with the success of the first two SmackDown games, then yeah, they decided to continue on with the series and bring it to the next generation. So then the following year in 2001, they then brought the SmackDown series over to the PlayStation 2, and the first SmackDown game that they released for the PlayStation 2 was SmackDown Just Bring It. Yeah. And yeah, of course, like this game is very infamous among like the fans of the series because yeah, this game like it received like very contrasting reviews because yeah, there were like people that really were like they praised it a lot, while there were others that really were like very negative on it, just like saying how bad it was. And yeah, the main problem I think with this game was just like all the hype that it had received because like just with how good the first two games were, and just now with this now being on like the newer console, people were expecting like a lot more or to come out of this game, and just for it to really be like so much better. Yeah, but yeah, and then so this game, yeah, it did like receive like a lot of contrasting reviews. Yeah, but yeah, then and then when people first started playing the game, a lot of people felt kind of rubbed the wrong way because this like the opening video for the game, like it is like an animated intro, and it looks like very very good, like it's fully animated, and it really got people really thinking that like just the opening of the game was actually like from the in-game graphics because it looked like very very good. But then once people started playing the game, a lot of people just like really did feel rubbed the wrong way because that opening video with how it looked, that was not like how the graphics in the game actually were. So yeah, that did kind of like rub people the wrong way. Yeah, yeah, and another thing about this game was that like there were like noticeable issues with this game because it just had like various like stiff looking animations, and it did have like some various clipping issues that were like kind of noticeable with like their like wrestlers like kind of just like seeming to like go through the ring ropes at times. Times like the ropes are actually like going through their bodies. So yeah, that looked kind of weird. Yeah, and yeah, and I just think like the main problem with this game was that it really did seem to like be very lacking in content compared to like the first two games, and even like some like a lot of the later games. Like this game just really seemed to be lacking in content because as far as like the gameplay goes, like the gameplay was like just fine, like it pretty much did still have like identical controls to the first two games. So well, the gameplay really wasn't a problem with it, but yeah, its main problem was that it was just like very lacking in content because for this game, you couldn't really like have. There wasn't really like a really big selection of arenas to choose from. Like in the first two games, and even like the following games, like 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 when you had like a match, you actually could like choose like the arena to be in, whether it was like SmackDown, Raw, or like just various pay-per-views. Yeah, but this one, like there really weren't like a whole lot of arenas to choose from. Like you did have like arenas like Raw and SmackDown, but yeah, for the pay-per-views, there really weren't like a lot of pay-per-view arenas. Like there was a WrestleMania arena, but yeah, there were no like SummerSlam, Survivor Series, Royal Rumble, No Way Out, Judgment Day, Backlash, or any of those kinds of arenas. Like you just had like one arena that was just labeled pay-per-view arena, and and yeah, just the way that you could really make it seem like it was like a certain pay-per-view was just yeah for the it had an option for like what the ring aprons to use, and yeah, it did have like Backlash and Judgment Day, King of the Ring, Royal Rumble, yeah, all those, yeah, but yeah, it didn't have like any of those actual pay-per-view arenas. It just like was just a plain arena that was just like labeled the pay-per-view arena. Yeah, so that was one problem with it was like it's lack of arenas. Yeah, yeah, but yeah, this game really did like introduce some new features. Like, for example, like this one, like rather than just like what the entrances that the first two games had, where it was just like the wrestler just walking in front of their entrance video, like this game actually did like have like fully animated actual like entrances. So yeah, so you did actually have like legitimate entrances in this game, and it was this was the first game in the series to have those. So yeah, so it was nice to see like the actual entrances be done in this one. Yeah, and yeah, but yeah, this game also did like kind of like do things kind of weirdly because yeah, for the entrances you also did have like just some lighting for each entrance, and yeah, some of them really just didn't look right. Like for Stone Cold's entrance, he had like some sort of like dramatic looking lighting, which he never really had. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, so it did kind of like have it was like kind of weird like that. But yeah, and this game also did like actually feature commentary during like the gameplay as you had matches. Yeah, but yeah, the commentary in this game wasn't like very good. Like in this game, you had Michael Cole and Taz doing the commentary. But yeah, it really didn't sound good at all. Like, it didn't even like sound convincing whatsoever. It just sounded like they just like were saying various phrases, and yeah, and they were just like the phrases were just like put together that were separate. Like they would like say something and then it would like stop for like a split second and then like pick up again where they said something else, and yeah, it just didn't really sound convincing at all. Yeah. And something else that I think I should like say about this game is like when you first started up, like after like that intro, then like it takes you to like the start art screen, and after you press start, like you hear Michael Cole saying WWF SmackDown, just bring it. Like, why are you having Michael Cole say just bring it? Like, just bring it is the Rock's catchphrase. Like, have the Rock say just bring it. I mean, as you can even see, like on the case of the game, you have the Rock doing the just bring it gesture. So why aren't you having the Rock say just bring it? Why are you having Michael Cole say that? So that doesn't make sense either, and I think that's another drawback to the game. Yeah, yeah, but yeah, this game also like it did like remove some matches that were like in Know Your Role. Yeah, but yeah, one thing that was kind of cool about the game is that in this game, like there were like certain matches where you could have like 8 superstars in it, like particularly like the Royal Rumble match. In the Royal Rumble match, like you could actually have like 8 guys in the ring at one time, which was pretty cool. Like in the first two games, like the Royal Rumble matches, you could only have like 4 guys in it, and yeah, and even like in like a lot of the later like games, you could only like have like up to 6 guys in the ring. But yeah, it was cool that in this one that you could like have up to 8 guys in the ring at once. I think the only game that really where you had more was of course like the Royal Rumble game for the arcades, which of course was ported on the Dreamcast, where you could have up to 9 wrestlers in the ring at once. So yeah, so it's rare to really see like this many guys in the Royal Rumble at one time, even though like you probably won't really see 8 guys in the ring that often because getting eliminated in a Royal Rumble match in this game is like surprisingly easy. Yeah, but yeah, this game, like the gameplay itself, it was still like very solid and enjoyable. But yeah, its main problem was its lacking content, and I think the biggest just um, flaw with the game it's very lacking season mode, or rather in this game it's just story mode, because really just there's not really a whole lot of a variety in the story mode, and it's very, very short. Pretty much all it is just like you, like you like go for a title or something. There's like a little bit of a storyline that goes on, and you just like have a few matches, and it leads up to like Wrestlemania or whatever, and yeah, and you challenge for the title and you win it, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, so it really doesn't last very long, and even if you do like try to do different things, like if you try to go for another title, it really doesn't even last really any longer. So yeah, so the story mode in this game, yeah, it was very lacking, and yeah, it just really didn't have a very big variety, and yeah, it was just way too short. Yeah, yeah. But one thing that I did like find kind of interesting, like as you did play through the story mode, like you could like go walk around like in the backstage area like there, area, like it had like a point of view angle where you could just like walk around like the backstage area, and yeah, you might like find somebody to talk to. Yeah, the only problem is just like when you were backstage, like as you were walking around, you only had like 2 minutes to do it. So yeah, so it was just like, why was the time so short? Like, why did you even have a time limit for it at all? So yeah, so the game, like overall, I mean, I do like it, and yeah, some people did. Like, I think like if you can just like look at the gameplay itself, I think that you will have some enjoyment out of it. But yeah, I just think like the biggest problem with it was just like it's lacking content. Like it didn't have as much content as people were really thinking that it was going to, and yeah, it just really was not what people really were expecting. Yeah, and as far as like the graphical issues and stuff, I guess I am willing to overlook it, because I mean this was still released during like the PlayStation 2's like it was like debut year. So yeah, so just yeah, it just like had just like some issues in it that they would like over time like they would like fix for like later games that were released for the system. So yeah, so I am willing to overlook that, but just yeah, when you do compare it to like the first games, like it is really in its lack of content and everything, and yeah, I can really like see the people's complaints about it. No, but yeah, I do still enjoy the game, but I do like understand like where people are coming from when they're talking about like the problems with it. Yeah, and this is probably just like the most uh contrasted game of the entire series, because yeah, people just have very contrasting opinions about it. Yeah, but overall, I do like it. But yeah, just like everybody else, I just wish that it did have like some more content to it, and it just wasn't like so simple like it is. Yeah, but overall, I do think that it is a good game still. And so so just bring it. Yeah, it was kind of a disappointment for some people because it really didn't have like what people were really expecting. But the following year, you're like they really did like capitalize on that and really have a huge redeemer with SmackDown Shut Your Mouth. Yeah, and yeah, this is really like one of my favorites. Like I really did love this game. Like yeah, this is like really like not one of my favorite in the series, but yeah, one of my favorite wrestling games of all time. Like this was another one that I did have on that list of my top 10 favorite wrestling games, or the top 10 best wrestling games, and yeah, and I really did love this. Like I remember like playing this when I was a kid, and yeah, I really did enjoy it. I just really did just I really liked this game. I mean, just the gameplay was like very enjoyable, and yeah, just the graphics looked absolutely amazing. Like it was like these graphics were just like a huge upgrade from just bring it. Like the graphics on this like just really do look really great, and yeah, and they still really do hold up a lot today. Like it does look better. The graphics in this game look better than a lot of like the more recent games. Yeah, I really do like the graphics. Just like look absolutely amazing in this one. And yeah, and I do, and yeah, like I said, I really do like this game. Like this game, like it did have a really cool menu layout, and yeah, and it did have like a wide selection of matches. Because yeah, and I really did like the roster in the game. Like this was like during the time when like you did have like some other newer guys coming in. Like this game, like it did have like the usual guys in the company at the time. Like this game still did have like The Rock, Stone Cold, Kurt Angle, Triple H, Chris Jericho, The Undertaker, Kane, yeah, all those guys. But yeah, this game also did have like yeah, this game had Hulk Hogan, it had Brock Lesnar. This game even featured like Randy Orton when like Randy Orton was still like a rookie. So yeah, so that's interesting. Yeah. Yeah, and I just really do love the gameplay in this. Like I said, the graphics look so great. And yeah, like I said, it really does look better than a lot of like the newer games. Yeah, and yeah, and I do like that when you like perform a finisher in the game, like the SmackDown logo comes on the screen for a second. Yeah, and something else that's pretty cool about this game was like, I think that this game introduced it, was where you could steal your opponent's finisher, and yeah, and you needed to have like a two like a finisher bars in order to do that. Like yeah, I'm sure like a lot of you do know like when you like build when you do like get in like enough offense in it, like you have like a meter on the screen, and like when you fill up like the meter, it like gives you like a piece like a thing to do your finisher with. Yeah. And when you have two of them, you can actually steal your opponent's finisher. And what I like about that is like when you do steal your opponent's finisher, the SmackDown logo like comes on the screen again for a second. But yeah, when you steal your opponent's finisher, the SmackDown logo is red. So I thought that was pretty cool to see. Yeah. Plus also like in this game, like when you do like a there are like at some points where you do a certain finisher, and yeah, and it does like a 360 spin where it just like stops for a second. Yeah, you just like stop for a second and you do it does like a 360 spin. I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah, yeah, and plus also like in this game, like it does actually have like a much better season mode than Just Bring It did, where it actually is like fleshed out and it does go on longer. Like I think the season mode in this game, I think it goes on for like 2.5 years or something. Like yeah, and in the season mode for this game, you actually are pretty much like reliving like what did actually go on in the WWE in 2002. It like has stuff like it does do like the brain extension stuff. Like the season mode does start off where you're actually like having that the draft to draft like superstars to Raw and SmackDown, and you can actually choose like which roster you want to represent, which who you want to draft for, whether it's SmackDown or Raw. Yeah, and it also does do like other or it does include like other like elements that did actually occur in 2002 with like I said, it does have the draft, and it also does include like Stone Cold's free agency signing. Yeah, and it also has like some other things. Like it does actually have like the NWO stuff where like Vince McMahon does bring in the NWO, and you also do have the stuff with like Kurt Angle like having his head shaved bald. Yeah, and I do find that pretty funny that it's actually in the game. Like when you just have like a regular match in this game, like Kurt Angle, like he is just like bald in the game, but yeah, when you play through the season mode, it actually does start off where he actually does have hair, and you do eventually like get to the part in the year where he does get his head shaved bald. So yeah, I thought it was pretty funny. And speaking of Kurt Angle, this is also the first game to actually like include the "You Suck" chants during Kurt Angle's entrance, which I thought was funny. They actually did include that into the game. So this game, yeah, it just really did have like just a lot of like just like yeah, it just really did have a lot of stuff that really did make me enjoy it. Yeah. Oh, and I also forgot to mention, I was talking about how it does include like Stone Cold's free agency stuff, where it has the segment where he chose to sign with either SmackDown or Raw, and it does play through it. Yeah, yeah. If you're not playing as Stone Cold, like when you get to that part, like Stone Cold will just it pretty much will play out like how it did in real life, where Stone Cold like did like sign with Raw. But now, when you do play a Stone Cold, when you play through the season mode, you can actually choose which show you do want to sign with, whether you want to sign with SmackDown or Raw. So yeah, so you can actually kind of like change it up a little bit if you want to have him sign with SmackDown, which I thought was interesting to see as well. So yeah, so as you can see, I do hold this game in a very high regard, and yeah, it is one of my favorites, and I really do like it a lot. So yeah, so I definitely say this is like one of the better games of the series, and yeah, I really do love it. So yeah, Shut Your Mouth is great. Uh, yeah, and so yeah, yeah, and with Shut Your Mouth being so great, like what could possibly be next for it? Well, well, following Shut Your Mouth was then and a game that is still considered today to be like considered by many still the best wrestling game of all time, and that is of course SmackDown Here Comes the Pain. Yeah, and of course this one has been like a fan favorite for ever since its debut. Like, yeah, still to this day, a lot of people have like said either this game or No Mercy for the N64 is the best wrestling game of all time. And you may remember I did put this game as number 1 on the top 10 best wrestling games. So yeah, I still do. So yeah, I feel that way about the game too. Yeah, Here Comes the Pain was just like so great. Like it did have a lot of matches in the game once again, and yeah, and it did still have like the roster that was like part of WWE at the time. Yeah, and this game also did, of course, like feature some new content. Like for example, yeah, this was the first game that actually did feature the Elimination Chamber. So yeah, so it was cool that you actually got to have the Elimination Chamber in a video game. Yeah, and yeah, this game also was the first one to feature our bra and panties match in there. And the gameplay, yeah, it is still like very very good. But I mean, yeah, they did kind of like change it up a little bit from how it was in the prior games. Like, it does have a little bit of a different control system, such as like reversing holds and moves and stuff. But yeah, it is still like very playable. Like it'll take a little bit of time to adjust to if you're used to the controls of like the prior games. But yeah, once you do get used to it, yeah, it's still like a really good game, and yeah, and it'll still the controls are still good for this game. Yeah. Yeah, and plus also this was the first game that actually did include like some legends to unlock in the game, and yeah, and you can actually like play matches of them. Like this game, like it does have some legends. Like it includes like Sergeant Slaughter, Roddy Piper. I think the Iron Sheik's in this game. Nikolai Volkov's in the game. And it does actually feature like the old school Undertaker, like back when he was like the dead man, like in the mid 90s. Yeah. And what I do find interesting is that it does like, of course, like also have like the current Undertaker at the time in the game. What I find kind of interesting about it is that uh just like the current Undertaker is just like labeled Undertaker, and the old school Undertaker is listed as the Undertaker. So I do find that kind of interesting. Yeah. And plus also like when you do like select a legend and in this game, like just the entrances for the legends, it is like kind of like very old school, like back how it was like in the 80s, where like they like are just like brought to the ring inside like that small little um ring cart, like you know what I'm talking about, where like you have like that little ring that the wrestler stands in, and it just like brings them down to the ring. And yeah, if you're like very very old school, like from the 80s or early 90s, you might know what I'm talking about. Like when wrestlers like came down to the ring for their entrances. Yeah, it does have that. Yeah, though for some reason, like there's no entrance music when you and for any of the legends, which is kind of strange. Yeah, and this game also does like feature like a Stephanie McMahon and Eric Bischoff, who of course were the general managers at the time. That yeah, you can actually like play as them in the game too. Yeah, well, in the regular matches, yeah. And the game also does have a season mode, and it is shorter than Shut Your Mouth. The season mode in this game only lasts for about a year. Like it's pretty much like you start from WrestleMania. Well, yeah, you start like immediately following WrestleMania, and yeah, and you pretty much just progress through the year up to WrestleMania the following year. And it is kind of like similar to Shut Your Mouth. No, I forgot to mention Shut Your Mouth. That yeah, it when you play through the season mode and Shut Your Mouth, like you can do like what you did do in Just Bring It, where you actually do like a just are able to walk around the arena in a point of view angle. Yeah, but unlike Just Bring It, there is no time limit to walk around the backstage area and Shut Your Mouth. So and yeah, and you can pretty much go like in a bunch of different places. Like you can go like in a boiler room, you can go on the streets. Yeah, you can go to like just yeah, there are like a lot of places that you can just like go to when you are just going around the arena and stuff when you play the season mode Shut Your Mouth. So yeah, they did improve that from Just Bring It as well. Yeah, but anyway, yeah, back to Here Comes the Pain. Yeah, Here Comes the Pain. Yeah, the season mode. Yeah, it is still like similar to Shut Your Mouth. Like in Shut Your Mouth, you did have a lot of cutscenes where you were just like talking to like various people, and yeah, and you do have that here as well. Oh yeah, and then Shut Your Mouth, like also like when you were like walking around backstage, like you could sometimes bump into somebody and talk to them. Here, like you can still do that, but you don't have to like completely walk around the arena or anything. Like here, like just you have a locker room in your season mode, and yeah, and it is There's just a feature where you can just like go around to a certain place in the building and talk to a certain wrestler or somebody. Yeah, yeah. And what I do find kind of interesting about the season mode is that at some points they may like include like a type of some sort of like promo or something that actually like did occur like long before like the year like this game is set in. Like this game of course was released in 2003, so it pretty much is like set in 2003. But yeah, in the story in the season mode, like the game does kind of feature like some like promos that were like from long that weren't even in 2003. They were like more like further in the past than 2003. Was like I do remember like they do like try to recreate the "This Is Your Life" segment that was like was with Mankind and The Rock from 1999. I remember they did include that in this season mode where they do try to like recreate that. Yeah, yeah, and I do also remember like as it is like as you're like leaning into as it is like leading up to WrestleMania, there's like the promo. It has a promo where you pretty much are recreating the a bit where Kurt Angle like had the milk truck and he was like spraying milk in the ring and just like mocking Stone Cold with the milk cartons. Yeah, I remember like they did have like a promo like that in the game as well. So I do find that kind of funny that they have like retro promos like that recreated in this game. Yeah, but yeah, the game, yeah, it is still like really, really great. I mean, yeah, like I said, just yeah, people still do regard this as like one of the best games of all time. Yeah, even like the best game of all time. Yeah, like I said, a lot of people like have it as a toss up between either this or No Mercy for the N64. But yeah, this game is just yeah, it is like an absolute masterpiece. And yeah, and what I find kind of interesting as well is that this game it does like have like a lot of music that was also in the WrestleMania 19 game for the GameCube, which was released the same year. So I do find that kind of interesting because I of course did play like WrestleMania 19 for the GameCube a lot. So it is interesting to hear like music that was in that game also used in this game. So yeah, that is interesting. But yeah, Here Comes the Pain. Yeah, it is like a really true classic, and yeah. And yeah, like I said, a lot of people have like regarded it as the best wrestling game of all time, and yeah, and that is what I have said too. So yeah, so yeah, so like many other people, I do hold Here Comes the Pain in a very high regard as well. Yeah, yeah, all right. But then yeah, then after this, then after Here Comes the Pain, then that was when then the series kind of did go in a different direction where, yeah, they didn't really just like have it be like just SmackDown in the title. Then up next, they then like did like something did like their next title was a game that still is like considered still part of the series, but it was also like people would say is also like kind of sort of a spin-off series. Yeah, the next game they did was of course SmackDown versus Raw. So yeah. So yeah, people still do like and say like the SmackDown versus Raw series, like they do kind of like say that it is sort of a different series, but yes, people still do like also like still like count it as part of the SmackDown game series because of course like SmackDown is still in the title. Yeah. So yeah, so SmackDown versus Raw. So yeah, this was another game that really did like have a lot of hype to it because yeah, like this game was really marketed like if like it was just like said that it just had like a lot of new features that weren't in the previous games. Yeah, and even like with the opening video for this game, like just it really just like does recap like the prior games to it. Who yeah, so it was pretty much like comparing itself to like the previous game. So yeah, so this game just really just had like so much hype surrounding it. So yeah, and then yeah, when people played um, the game is still good, but a lot of people do kind of like feel that it really didn't like live up to the hype, and it really didn't live up to a lot of people's expectations either. And I really do think that it is mainly due to that a lot of the new features in this game they didn't really live up to the hype, and they didn't really deliver as people really were expecting them to. Kind of similar to just Spring It. Yeah, but yeah, the gameplay was still like really good once again. Like, yeah, the graphics do look better than Here Comes the Pain. And the gameplay is still enjoyable. Like they did add in some new features like a shoving contest and stuff. like when you start off a match, like it does like have like stare downs and shoving contests and stuff like that. Yeah, and in this game, it also like did like have some introductions to it. Like like you it had like a clean and a dirty meter to it where you could like fill it up by just doing like certain tactics in the match, and then and then once you filled it up, you could build it up like you could like do your taunt, and it would just like make you like sort of like invincible for a period of time. Yeah. Oh, something that I forgot to mention about Here Comes the Pain is that Here Comes the Pain was also the first game to like have like body meters like with the player indicator on the screen, like yeah like as you play the game, of course, like you do have like the player indicators at the top of the screen, and Here Comes the Pain was the first one to actually have like the body meter in that indicator as well, where it was pretty much where it did like pretty much like show the damage that each competitor was taking and how damaged they were. Like it started off blue and then it like changed colors depending on like how much damage you were taking. Like it would like become yellow, then orange, then red. Yeah. Yeah, so it was the first game to include that, and then you like continued on in the series. Like it was still used in this game, and and also like in this game, like you could also like like change the menu layout. You could either give it like a Raw or a SmackDown I don't know setup. So so I thought that was interesting that you could like give it the menu either a SmackDown or a Raw setup. So that was cool. Yeah, and the game once again it did pretty much feature like everybody that was in the company at the time, and just like Here Comes the Pain, it did still like have some legends to unlock. Like this game, it had legends like it had Andre the Giant in there. It had Bret Hart. It had who else did it have? It had The Rock. It had Mankind. It had Roddy Piper, I think. It also had Brutus the Barber Beefcake, which I thought was interesting. Yeah, and it did have like some other legends like that in the game too. Yeah, yeah, and yeah. So it did still like have a good roster in the game, and the gameplay it was still like pretty good and stuff. Yeah, and it did like have some accurate commentary for this one. Like in this one, you actually did have like on Raw, you did have like JR and King doing commentary, and on SmackDown, you had Michael Cole and Taz. And this was the first game that actually did do that, where you had like JR and King for Raw and Michael Cole and Taz for SmackDown. Like for the previous games, like for Shut Your Mouth and Here Comes the Pain, it would only be like JR and King. Even like when it was SmackDown, you still did have JR and King, though. Yeah, and Here Comes the Pain, you didn't actually have any like vocals for the commentary or anything. It was all just through text. Yeah. Yeah, but this one you actually did have like the proper like voiceover commentary for both JR and King and Michael Cole and Taz. Yeah, and speaking of which, that was one of the new features that this game did have, where it did actually have superstar voiceovers in the game. Yeah, like, when you played through the season mode, like just everyone in the game except you for some reason, the character you play as didn't have any, but everybody like else in the game did actually have like full on voiceovers whereas in the game. Yeah, that was one of the new features that this game has, and that was one that a lot of people were disappointed with because it just really didn't really deliver that well. Because just the vocals in the game, like they were cool because it was the first time that you actually did have like the proper voiceovers, but it just really didn't sound very good because everybody just really sounded very subdued and bland. They had like no emotion in it, and plus, like I said, why didn't your character like have the voiceovers either? Like that was something I never did understand, and I just found it to be pretty stupid, to be honest. Yeah, but the season mode in the game, it was pretty good. It was pretty much like once like you just had like just various storylines. Like depending on how popular you were, you could like go after a title, and and depending on what you were doing, you had things like you could like possibly make a diva your manager, and you just had like just various storylines depending on like what you were doing in the game. Like if you had a title, you would pretty much just have these storylines where you would be just defending your title and just like some special matches like ladder matches and cage matches and stuff like that. And But what I found really cool about the season mode was that, like, when it came to WrestleMania, if you were one of the champions, like, you had the storyline where they actually did bring back the undisputed title. So yeah, so that was something that I thought was like really cool, that they actually did bring back the undisputed title in that way. Yeah. But yeah, the season mode, like, some people were disappointed with, because they just felt that it was lacking in content, and it just could have been a lot better than what it turned out being. But I liked it. Yeah, once again, it just like was like a year-round thing, and plus, yeah, they actually did like do trying to make it accurate this time, because yeah, depending on what show you were on, whether you were on SmackDown or Raw, it did kind of like just skip every other month, because yeah, this of course, like, this was when like Raw and SmackDown had their own exclusive pay-per-views. So yeah, so there would be times where it would like skip a certain month, because that was like the month of a of a pay per view for the show that you weren't on. So yeah, they would just like skip a month. So yeah. Yeah, and plus, yeah, another new feature that this game had was the ability to play online. But yeah, like I said before, like, the online feature wasn't very good either, because like it was very lacking in content. You only were able to do like a normal one-on-one or a bra and panties match, and yeah, and plus it had delay controls, and yeah, and this game was really like the ultimate example of just like how bad online players can be, because yeah, a lot of online players are just like really total scum. Like, they are always trying to cheat, and like when you have them beat, they just quit the game right before you win, and they just make up dumb excuses for it. Yeah, that's really like the main reason I really don't like to play online. Is because yeah, I just really don't like playing with people like that. So yeah, I really don't play online much at all. Yeah, and even then, like, just the online feature in the game, yeah, it was something else I really didn't deliver either. So yeah, so I really do feel that's the main problem with this game. It's just that a lot of the new features that this game had, they just really didn't deliver all that well. So yeah, but yeah, SmackDown versus Raw, it is still a good game, and I really do like it. I do like what the game does have. Like, it is lacking in stuff, and a lot of the new features didn't really deliver. But yeah, I can like look past that and just really enjoy like what the game does have. The gameplay is really good, and I do like the season mode and what it does have in it. So yeah, so yeah, it does have problems, but still, it does have enough for me to still enjoy it. Yeah. Oh yeah, and yeah, in this game they also do have like another legend they have was the classic Undertaker as well. Well, and then they also do have the Masked Kane in there. Yeah. And I remember something that I liked to do when I was younger in the game was have like the current Undertaker fight the old school Undertaker and have Kane be the referee, and the same thing with like a have like the current Kane fight the Masked Kane. Yeah, that was something I liked to do when I was younger. Yeah, so yeah, the game just can like give you some fun things to do like that. So yeah, just like have like certain wrestlers just fight themselves. Yeah, so that's funny. Yeah, so SmackDown versus Raw, I did like. So yeah, and but yeah, yeah, like I said, a lot of people just like felt kind of disappointed with the first SmackDown versus Raw game, just because it really seemed to be lacking and really like didn't deliver in a lot of the new features that they had. But then, yeah, then they went back, and then yeah, they then did give it like a good improvement for the following game, SmackDown versus Raw 2006. So yeah, yeah. So SmackDown vs. Raw 2006, like, this was like one of the best-selling wrestling games of all time. I think this was like the best-selling WWE game on the PlayStation 2. Like, yeah, this game, like, this game, like, has sold like around like 3 million copies. So yeah, this was a very, well-selling game. And yeah, yeah, and with this game, like, they really did like take a lot, like, the aspects from SmackDown vs. Raw that a lot of people were disappointed at, and they really did like make it a lot better. Like, the graphics really did look a lot better. The season mode really did have a lot more of a variety to it. And like this time, like, the character that you played as in the season mode actually did have voiceovers, and the voiceovers in this game did sound a whole lot better than they did in the first SmackDown vs. Raw game. Yeah, yeah, and this game also did like feature some new matches and new modes in it. Like, this game, yeah, this game like introduced the Buried Alive match. Yeah, yeah, this game like introduced the Buried Alive match to the games. It was basically kind of like a modified version of the casket match, because basically, like, to win the match, you had to like put your opponent in a casket and close the lid. So yeah, it was basically the concept of a casket match. But yeah, after like you shut the casket, then like the dirt would like be dropped on it, burying the opponent. Yeah. This game also like had a match that was like called the fulfill your fantasy match or something, where like like you like played as divas and you pretty much like had to do like some certain things to like fulfill the fantasy to win the match. Yeah, I'm not really too sure. I didn't actually play through it, but it's just like what I've heard about it. Yeah, yeah, and yeah, and this game also introduced the new feature to actually have title matches where like like as the game starts, like you do have like certain people holding like the various titles that were like in the company at the time on both Raw and SmackDown. Yeah, and you didn't have to play like through the season mode to actually have championship matches. Like this game actually made it where you could just like have regular matches, like just in like exhibition mode that. And you could actually like have titles be on the line. So yeah, so that was something that I did like that in like these later games that like you could just have like title matches from just having and just like the regular exhibition mode. So yeah, that was something I thought was like really cool. Yeah, that was what I really liked. Yeah, yeah, and then yeah, and like I said, like in the season mode, like this time, like the character you play as actually does talk. Yeah, yeah, your character that you play as actually does have like a proper voiceover this time. Yeah, yeah, and like I said, the season mode has more of a variety. I haven't really played through much of the season mode yet, but yeah, like what I have played about it, it's pretty cool. Like there's the like you're put on this like this legends tour where you can actually like face off against a bunch of legends. Like it has Bret Hart, Mankind, The Undertaker, Baker, the British Bulldog, Hulk Hogan. Yeah, it just has like all these different like legends in there that you can actually fight against with. So it's pretty awesome that you have like a guy who's part of the current roster going up against a whole bunch of legends. That's pretty cool. Yeah, and yeah, and this game also does like feature some more legends. Like it does feature like those guys that I was talking about, like with the British Bulldog, Bret Hart, Mankind, Hulk Hogan and stuff. Yeah, and what I find cool about like them having Hulk Hogan in the game, they actually do have like a few different versions of Hulk Hogan in the game. Like you have like just the modern Hulk Hogan, like how the attire that he wore at this time with like the long tights and stuff. Yeah, you had like the Hulk Hogan from the '80s where he just had like the yellow short tights, and you also had like the NWO Hollywood Hogan in there. So yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. They had like different versions of Hulk Hogan in this game. Yeah, yeah, but yeah, but what this game is really like most well known for introducing is the General Manager mode. Yeah, yeah, the General Manager mode. It is basically like yeah, the general manager mode in this game, it is basically the equivalent to like franchise mode in a sports game. Yeah, yeah, where you are pretty much just like managing a roster. You're just like setting up match cards, and yeah, and you're pretty much just like working through it the entire year. But yeah, it does require some tactics because yeah, you do have like a certain budget in the game. So yeah, you do need to actually have like various tactics and strategies when playing through it. Yeah, this is just for me. I'm not really a big fan of the general manager mode. I just find it kind of boring. Just yeah, what that mode consists of, it's really not really for me. I'm really more into just like the regular matches, just like playing as a wrestler, going through the stuff, just like actually competing in matches and stuff. I don't really like have the enjoyment of like making matches and just like setting up match cards and just managing a roster. I'm really just more into just like being a wrestler itself. So yeah, I'm really more about the season modes and stuff, not the general manager modes. Yeah, yeah, but yeah, SmackDown versus Raw 2006. Yeah, yeah. A lot of people do consider it like a really good upgrade from the first SmackDown versus Raw game because yeah, like I said, it really just like gave a lot of made like a lot of the content from SmackDown versus Raw a lot better. And yeah, and I just really feel that maybe this is like what a lot of more people were expecting to see from the first SmackDown versus Raw game. So yeah, SmackDown versus Raw 2006. Yeah, it is good. Yeah, I like saw a video of like somebody saying like, aside from No Mercy and Here Comes the Pain, this is what's their pick for the best WWE game of all time. I don't know if I can go that far, but yeah, it is a good game. I mean, I didn't play it as much as like a lot of the other ones, but yeah, it is still an enjoyable game, and I do like it. So yeah. And then yeah, then the following year they continued it on with SmackDown versus Raw 2007. And yeah, this one was one that I really did love. Like this was like when like they were really like changing up the control system for the games because yeah, something that they added into SmackDown vs. Raw 2006, like in a match they had like stamina in the match where you actually like had to like hold a button to like get your superstar to regain some stamina because like during the match like their stamina will go down and that had the '06 introduced like the feature of like where you like had to actually hold the button down to get your superstar to regain stamina. Yeah, and that was in this game too. Yeah, I didn't really like the stamina feature added into these two games because yeah, it just kind of did destroy the pacing of your matches. And just because like when you did have like somebody really beaten down and it looked like you could have pinned them, like if you're low on stamina, you got to stop and just like recharge up your stamina. So yeah, so I didn't really like the introduction of the stamina stuff in these games, and that's probably why like after this game, like they stopped doing that. Yeah, yeah, but yeah, SmackDown vs. Raw 2007. Yeah, I really did love this one a lot. I really did play this one a lot when I first got it, when I originally did have it. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it pretty much. Yeah, once again, like this game did still pretty much like have the roster, or that was like in the company at the time. Yeah, and this one also did like feature some new matches. I think this was like the first uh, game to actually include the Money in the Bank ladder match. I might be wrong that it was included in 2006. I'm not really too sure, but yeah, one of these two games introduced the Money in the Bank ladder match. I think it was this game. Yeah. Yeah, so it was cool that you could now play a Money in the Bank ladder match in the games. Yeah. Yeah, well, yeah, from what I really have seen, both like 2006 and 2007, I can't really see like much differences between them. I really do think like the main difference is really just the updated roster in 2007 from 2006. It still does pretty much have pretty much like the exact same features, I think. Like yeah, it does still have the same matches and stuff. It still does have like season mode. It has general manager mode. Like it does have the create a pay-per-view mode. Yeah, I haven't talked about that yet. Like I think starting in like a SmackDown, the first SmackDown versus Raw is when you could like create your own pay-per-view and stuff. Yeah, and you can also like create your own title as well. That which also started in the first SmackDown versus Raw. That's something that I forgot to mention. Yeah, but yeah, yeah. So pretty much like it still did have like the pretty much the exact same features as SmackDown versus Raw 2006 did, just like with an updated roster. Yeah, and this one once again did include like some more legends in it. Like yeah, the legends in this game it like consisted of like you had like The Rock in the game, Stone Cold in the game, Hulk Hogan in the game. It had like a Dusty Rhodes. It had the Hart Foundation. It had like all three of Mick Foley's characters in the game. It had like Cactus Jack, Dude Love, and Mankind. Yeah, even Eddie Guerrero was a legend in the game because yeah, this was like the first game that was released after Eddie Guerrero's death, so they added in Eddie Guerrero as a legend in the game. Yeah, yeah, and it also did like have some titles that were like to unlock that you could also like have on the line. Yeah, this still also did have like the title matches in just the regular exhibition mode. And yeah, and yeah, both '06 and '07 did have like some titles that were like old school titles. Like it had like the Hardcore Championship, the $1,000,000 Championship, the Smoking Skull Championship. So yeah, it did have like some titles like that to unlock that you could also like have on the line in the game as well. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, that was pretty cool as well. Yeah, and some one thing that I really did like to do, I was telling you guys like in the first SmackDown versus Raw, I like to have be like have the Undertaker fight the old school Undertaker and stuff. Yeah, something that I like to do in this game was I like to put like the Cactus Jack, Do Love, and Mankind matches together. What I would like usually do is like Mick Foley was already like just a regular character, or that was actually on the roster in this game. So yeah, what I like to do is I like would have fatal four-way matches with like Mick Foley, Cactus Jack, Do Love, and Mankind on there. Yeah, pretty much like determine who the real Mick Foley is, right? Yeah. Yeah, and pretty much like the season mode in this game, yeah, it is pretty much just yeah, you're going through like various storylines in the game, and yeah, and I find it kind of interesting because in the season mode in this game, it is kind of like different because you pretty much like start like a month before WrestleMania, and you pretty much like play through the year up until the next year's WrestleMania. So yeah, kind of in a different format than it usually was. Yeah, yeah, and and yeah, you also did like have like the GM mode once again, which once again I wasn't really too big on stuff, but yeah. So there really wasn't like a whole bunch of differences between this game and SmackDown versus Raw 2006. Yeah, I really feel like just the main difference was just like the updated roster for this one from 2006. So yeah, but yeah, something else that this game was also known for is like when this is when like the series was starting to like move into the next generation consoles because yeah, this game like it wasn't just released for the PlayStation 2, it was also released for like the Xbox 360. So yeah, so this was like when like the series was like starting to move into the next generation of consoles. So yeah, and then yeah, then like the series would then like make a bigger jump into the next generation of consoles because then the games like the following games they would like still be released for the PlayStation 2, but yeah, they were like really like more meant for like the newer generation and like just showing the just like the newer graphics and stuff. Yeah. And so then yeah, then the next game in the series we had SmackDown versus Raw 2008. Yeah. So yeah. Yeah. And yeah, this one once again, this was like when they were like really like changing up the controls. So yeah, the newer control systems for the following games, they once again, like I said before, they do like take some time to adjust to, but yeah, yeah, but yeah, once you do like get the hang of it, yeah, the games are still like very enjoyable to play. Yeah. I mean, yeah, like, yeah. What this game was like known for was like this was the first game to now like just feature ECW. You see that on the cover; it says featuring ECW. The following few games would also like feature ECW in this because yeah, this was like the first game like that was like well technically 2007 was released after ECW was brought back, but yeah, this was like the first game that full on like ECW was brought back. Yeah. Yeah, and yeah, so yeah, and then this one did have like some older graphics. Oh, something that I really forgot to talk about. Going back to like SmackDown, Shut Your Mouth, and Here Comes the Pain for a second. Yeah, that something that I forgot to talk about with those games is that like whenever you would like pin somebody, the referee would like really count like slower for some reason, like rather than just a 1, 2, 3. Like for some reason, like in those games, the referee counted slower. It was like 1, 2, 3. So yeah, that was something that I really didn't understand about those games. Like, why did the referee count relatively slower? Yeah. Then yeah, in the first SmackDown versus Raw, they did like fix that where the referee counted normally 1, 2, 3. Yeah. And yeah, going back to 2007 for a second, yeah, what I found kind of like interesting about that one is that whenever like there was a pin count, like when the referee would count, the crowd would like do the say 1, 2, 3 along with the referee counting them down. Yeah. But yeah, yeah. Then in this one, like they didn't do that anymore. Like they just like had the referee just say 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, this game, yeah. I remember playing this one a lot when it came out, and yeah, and I did like it. Like it did have like some new features once again, like uh yeah, like I said, it did like kind of have like a newer control system. It did add in some new matches, like and this one like this introduced like the Extreme Rules match in there, which was basically a hardcore match. But what it was that you could actually choose which weapon you wanted to pull out from under the ring. So yeah, that was interesting to see. Yeah, yeah, and this uh yeah, this game, yeah, it also did have like some like other features added in, this game actually did have like a King of the Ring mode where yeah you could actually play through the King of the Ring tournament, and yeah, and if you won King of the Ring, you could actually select a certain diva to actually like be your queen, and yeah, they would like crown you the King of the Ring. Yeah, so that was interesting to see. Yeah, and also like what I haven't talked about yet for like these like games like from SmackDown versus Raw onward is that when you would play through the Royal Rumble match, like rather than just like prior to the first SmackDown versus Raw game, when you would attempt to eliminate somebody from the Royal Rumble match, like they would just like be on the apron or just like holding on. You would just have to like beat them off. Yeah, starting from the first SmackDown versus Raw onwards, from like up to this point, like whenever like you would try to eliminate somebody from the Royal Rumble, like they would be on the ring apron and they would have like a ring out meter where that you had to like absolutely drain completely to get them to eliminate them. And so yeah, so what you would have to do is like you would have to like hold hold like the right thumbstick in a certain direction, like pretty much towards the superstar, and yeah, and then you would push them out. You just like had to like pretty much mash buttons to get it to drain out. And yeah, when it was fully drained, then yeah, then the superstar would be eliminated from the Royal Rumble. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, that's something that I haven't touched upon yet that I feel I should. Yeah. Yeah, and yeah, this game also does have like some other features like that. Like it of course does have like the updated roster. Yeah, and yeah, and it would, yeah, this game was also where it was made more convenient, where you could have like just title matches and just regular exhibition mode. Because yeah, in this game when you would like scroll through the roster, it would show you that they were a certain champion, and if you selected a champion, like it would give you the option to put the title on the line. And yeah, like you didn't have to go through like it didn't have like a title fight right in the match selection screen for you to select. So it is more convenient. Like this game started the better convenience of having title matches in the regular exhibition mode and stuff. Yeah, and yeah, and this was also the last game to just have like really a regular season mode. Oh yeah, this in this game, like the season mode is basically like it starts off with like Vince McMahon just telling you that you have to become a legend and stuff. And yeah, and basically like just throughout the season mode, like you're just like really building up your legend status, just in various storylines. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And so yeah, the game overall, like it did add, yeah, it did like have like it was really like the first game in the series to really like show off the next generation hardware and stuff. So yeah, so it is known for that, and yeah, and it is a good game overall with some the new features that it does have. So overall, yeah, I do like SmackDown vs. Raw 2008. All right. And then the following year, it would continue on with SmackDown vs. Raw 2009. Yeah, and yeah, this was one that I really did enjoy a lot. Like, yeah, this is where like it did the games did like get kind of different with their content, but yeah, it was still really enjoyable. Like once again, it really did have like just an updated roster. Once again, the controls were pretty much identical to 2008. Yeah, yeah, and yeah, the title mode was still like just like 08, where yeah, you could just like select somebody and then choose whether or not to defend the title. Yeah, to my knowledge, I don't really think that this game really did add in any like new matches or anything. So you pretty much did have like the same like match content that 08 did. Yeah, the biggest like innovation this game had was that rather than like just the season mode this time, like this game still did like have like a career mode, but it really didn't. But yeah, it really didn't have any storyline to it. Basically, like you would have a match, and then yeah, then you would just like continue on, have another match. Yeah, continue on, have another match. Yeah, it was very generic for the career mode. Like it didn't have any storyline to it. Really, like the story modes in this game came from the new edition in this game, which was the Road to WrestleMania mode. Yeah, and the Road to WrestleMania mode was basically like the true season mode for this game and the following ones. Yeah, what the Road to WrestleMania mode was that like you had just a, a selection of like just a yeah, you had like a just a selection of characters to choose from, which would follow like uh, a certain storyline that would like lead up to WrestleMania. And yeah, some of these storylines were like all right, they were believable, but others I felt were like kind of like we just got silly and stupid. Like I remember like the one that I found like extremely stupid and ridiculous was when you played through the Road to WrestleMania mode as John Cena. When you play as John Cena through the Road to WrestleMania mode, you have this very ridiculous storyline with like MVP, where like MVP like feels that he's treated unfairly in the USA, so he like leaves the USA and he creates his own country known as Better Than Utopia. Just how ridiculous is that? Better Than Utopia? Like, I'm just glad that there was no real storyline like that in the actual WWE. Yeah, and it basically like just leads up to WrestleMania, where like as John Cena representing the USA, you face off against MVP representing Better Than Utopia, and yeah, and it is basically a utopian rules, man. match where, yeah, MVP has like certain rules for the non-better than utopians. Yeah, it gets really ridiculous and stupid. Yeah, but yeah, in that mode, it shows that John Cena also like has a soldier that he friend that he befriended at a tribute to the troop show named Tony, and yeah, and then like when you like I think when you play through John Cena in the Road to WrestleMania mode, you actually do unlock this Tony guy. So I find it kind of interesting that there are these like fictional characters that you actually are able to unlock, and you can actually play a match as in the game. Yeah, and there are, and some other modes that they go through is like there's a mode with Chris Jericho where there's like this masked man targeting Chris Jericho, and Chris Jericho is like just trying to find out who that masked man is and stuff. Yeah, and then yeah, you actually do unlock that masked man when you play through the season mode with Chris Jericho. Like I won't give it away who that masked man is, but yeah, when you actually like play through like the Road to WrestleMania mode with Chris Jericho, you unlock the masked man. Yeah. Then yeah, there's also one where you play as Triple H, where like you like where you can actually like pretty much form up either Evolution or DX again, which is interesting. Yeah, it all depends on what you choose to do at some point in that season mode. Well, in that when you play as Triple H in his storyline, yeah. Then you got one with The Undertaker where there's something else I do find silly because there's this one point where he like makes Santino into a zombie pretty much under his control and stuff. Yeah, so yeah, the Road to WrestleMania mode has some silly stories like that, but yeah, it was a new feature in the game, and I liked it. Yeah, so that was the biggest innovation that SmackDown vs. Raw 2009 had. And yeah, and I did like SmackDown vs. Raw 2009. It really was like one of my favorites on the SmackDown vs. Raw series. So yeah, so overall, I did enjoy it. Yeah, yeah. Then the following year, it would continue on with SmackDown vs. Raw 2010. So yeah, I didn't actually really get the chance to play this one when it originally came out. So yeah, so I really won't have very much knowledge on this one. I really haven't played that much of it. But yeah, it does still like have some good features in it. Yeah, it does kind of like change things up a bit. Like it still does have like the roster for the time. Yeah, yeah. One of the biggest changes that this one really had that I have seen is like in the Royal Rumble mode starting in this one, like it got different where to eliminate somebody like it wasn't really to drain out. You didn't really just like drain out their ring out meter. What you really had to do was like you were pushing somebody, and yeah, there were like button commands on screen where you had to like just press a certain one of the face buttons, and like it would change alternately. So yeah, and then if you followed the button commands, you would eventually eliminate somebody. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how other people felt about it, but personally, I didn't like that. I didn't like how you had to like actually press the face buttons to do it. I really liked the ring out stuff a lot better. I just felt that that was like much easier to do and more convenient. Yeah, I didn't really like that they changed it up for the face buttons and stuff. Yeah, so I don't really have like much knowledge on this game, so I can't really like talk all that much about it. But yeah, it still does have like the Road to WrestleMania mode once again. Yeah, you still like just have just a selection of superstars going through like various storylines with. And so yeah, so it is basically the same concept as the previous games. Yeah, as of 2009. Yeah. Yeah, so really just there's not really a whole lot I can say about this one, but yeah, yeah, the controls they still do overall work, and yeah, the graphics are still really good. And yeah, and the content that I have looked through in the game, yeah, it is still pretty good overall. So yeah, I really haven't played it enough to really give it a ranking amongst like the other games, but yeah, overall, yeah, it is still a very playable game. Yeah. Yeah, and then the following year, then they continued it on once again with SmackDown vs. Raw 2011, and yeah, and this was actually the last one in like in the games that had the SmackDown vs. Raw title in them. Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, something else that I didn't talk about with 2010, before I get to 2011, one more thing I want to talk about. Yeah, it's another thing regarding the Royal Rumble is that this was the first game when you just played through the regular Royal Rumble match that you did actually have like the Royal Rumble introduction where they like did go over the rules before the match. So yeah, so I did like that they finally did put that in the game. Like in the other ones, like it would just automatically just go right to the entrances, none of the introductions or anything where they went over the rules. And in this game, this was the first one that they did that. So yeah, that's something that I liked about it too. So yeah, it does have that going for it. All right, but anyway, okay. So yeah, SmackDown versus Raw 2011. Uh, I remember this was another one that I did play when it did originally come out, and um, I liked it overall, but I didn't really like it as much as the ones that did come before it. I don't know what it was about it. Like, it still did have good controls and everything, but I don't know, something about this one, and like, I just really didn't have as much enjoyment out of this as I did with the other ones. Like, it still did have like all those matches I talked about before, like or like it also did like introduce like some new modes like this. I think this was the first one to actually have like a WWE Universe mode where like did have like matches that were already like preset for like a certain show's card, and yeah, and you could pretty much like control that. Yeah. And yeah, and this one also did have like another Road to WrestleMania mode where you just like had the Road to WrestleMania with like just certain superstars, a selection of superstars following a certain storyline. But yeah, it was done in kind of a different way in this game than the other ones because, yeah, similar to like a SmackDown Shut Your Mouth, like you could like when you didn't actually have a match, you could actually like walk around the backstage area and stuff. So yeah, that was like kind of cool that they like decided to like go down that route again. But also like have it be like in a different format than they had. Like it wasn't in first person view. Well, technically it was like you could switch between first person view and like a shoulder or head view of it. Yeah, yeah. Plus, yeah. Also, like when you were backstage, you would sometimes like come across like another superstar, and yeah, and like you could actually like shove the superstar a few times to egg them on, and then you would like get in a fight backstage, and it could like earn you some points and stuff where you could like upgrade your abilities and stuff. So yeah, that was cool to see. Yeah, yeah, and this, and once again, like you just had like just various storylines for each superstar you could play as in the Road to WrestleMania mode in this one. And yeah, and this one also did have like an interesting one where you could actually like go up against the Undertaker at WrestleMania to try to end his streak because yeah, this was back when the Undertaker still did have his streak. And yeah, and plus yeah, you could even like go through it within the game as a created superstar. So yeah, that was cool that you could actually go through the Road to WrestleMania mode with a created superstar. Yeah, yeah. So it did have modes like that. Like I said, I didn't really like get as much enjoyment out of this one as I did some of the other ones, but it still did have some stuff going for it, and it did have some stuff that I did enjoy. So yeah, so I can't really say that 2011 didn't give me anything. So yeah, so it was still an enjoyable game in some aspects. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Yeah. And then up next, then we got to WWE 12. Yeah, this was like, yeah, like I was just saying, like yeah, they stopped with the SmackDown versus Raw series and instead just named them WWE. I'm not entirely sure why they stopped calling them SmackDown versus Raw and just changed them to WWE. I mean, yeah, I don't know if just like they lost the rights to SmackDown versus Raw, if it was like from different developers or what, but yeah, regardless of why, yeah, they changed it to just WWE. And yeah, WWE 12. This is another one that I didn't actually play when it was originally released. I never did get the chance to get it. So I don't have like, yeah, very much knowledge on this one. But from what I have played of it, yeah, it's pretty good. And like, yeah, they kind of like changed it up. Like they got rid of the player indicators for this one. And yeah, it is kind of like shown a different angle. Like it's done kind of like lower down more at like a rope level, kind of like similar to like how it was in the Day of Reckoning games. Yeah, yeah, and it was pretty good. Like I do like when you put like Sin Cara is in this game, and like when you play a Sin Cara, like it actually does have like the lighting that it had for Sin Cara's matches in the company at the time. So I did like that. Yeah, yeah. Oh, Yeah, I forgot to say something about SmackDown versus Raw 2008. Yeah, going back to that for a second. Yeah, that game, once again, it did have some legends in it, once again. Like, I think that, yeah, SmackDown versus Raw 2008 was the last game to have legends in it. Yeah, it had, like, guys like, The Rock, Stone Cold, Bret Hart, Mick Foley. You actually did have a Rick Rude in '08, which was kind of a surprise to see Rick Rude in the game. Yeah, and you also did have Shane McMahon and Vince McMahon in the game. And so, yeah, what I found kind of funny is that you even did have like the option of having bald Vince McMahon in the game because yeah, that was, yeah, of course, 2007 was the year that he got his head shaved bald at WrestleMania. Yeah, yeah, they had an interesting thing like characters in the game, but yeah, but you had to go through like certain tactics where you had to do like certain tasks in order to be able to unlock them first. So yeah, so you did actually have to like earn the ability to unlock them before you could actually do it. Yeah, so yeah, that was something I forgot to talk about. Yeah, yeah, so that's something else about SmackDown vs. Raw 2008. Yeah, and I think that it was really the last game to actually have like legends in it. Yeah, but anyway, okay, getting back to WWE 12. Yeah, yeah, overall, like the gameplay is still pretty good. Like you still pretty much you have everybody that was on the roster at that time. Yeah, and like I said, like you, like, like they do like make it very accurate with like depending on who you're playing as. Like I said, for when you do like have Sin Cara in a match, like it actually does like give the proper lighting that was on during Sin Cara's matches. Yeah, so it is very accurate, and the gameplay is still pretty enjoyable. And yeah, and once again, this game does have a Road to WrestleMania mode, though it is like really different than how it was in the other ones. Like in the Road to WrestleMania mode for this game, it's not really how it was in the previous ones that did have Road to WrestleMania mode, where like you like were able to play. You had like a selection of superstars to choose from to follow a certain storyline. From what I have played of this one, it really just seems to follow just like one storyline where you're pretty much just playing as just like just anybody. Like from what I have played, like played as Sheamus so far, and yeah, it's like you're beating down John Cena and stuff. And yeah, I'm not really sure like what else this game really does do. I haven't really gotten too far into it, but yeah, it starts like long before or like where it starts in like the other games, like which pretty much just as it's leading up to the Royal Rumble. Here it's like starting from like bragging rights. So yeah, I'm not too sure if like it is pretty much like comparable to just the season mode in the other games where you're just like going through the storylines up until WrestleMania, or what the case is. But yeah, it is done in a different format than how it was in the other games that had the Road to WrestleMania mode. So at least for this game, they were like trying some different things for it. So yeah, so I don't really have enough knowledge about this game to really talk about like how good it is, but yeah, I will say at least that they are at least like putting effort into it by like trying different things with it with like the Road to WrestleMania mode and stuff. So yeah, so overall, I can't really say that they weren't trying with it. There is at least effort put into it. All right. Yeah. And the final game in the series was, of course, WWE 13. So, yeah. So, yeah, when this game was first released, I really did play it a lot. And yeah, this game is just really awesome. Like, it really does have a good roster. Once again, like, I really do like some of the people are in this game. Like this game actually does have like The Rock in it, like the actual like the current Rock for the time, like the pretty much the WrestleMania 28 Rock, and it does have Brock Lesnar in the game and his MMA gear and stuff. So I do like the selection that it has in the game. Yeah, and it really does have like a lot of matches to play. It still does have like the Hell in a Cell, the ladder, the cage, all that stuff. Yeah, and plus, yeah, I'm one of these games like around this time started, and I'm not real. I forgot which one it was. I forgot if it was SmackDown versus Raw 2011 or WWE 12. Yeah, but yeah, around this time, like the games also did introduce like the scramble matches. So yeah, so it was cool that they put that in there. Yeah, the scramble matches were like interesting matches. It was basically like the equivalent to like the hardcore battle royals that they did have at the time. Well, they did have back in like the Attitude Era and stuff. Yeah, yeah, and speaking of the Attitude Era, of course, like what this game is most known for, of course, is the Attitude Era mode, where you can actually like relive if like the Attitude Era. Yeah, you just like play through a certain period of the Attitude Era, and it is just so great to really like just relive the Attitude Era by playing through like just a bunch of matches from there. Like the Attitude Era mode in this game, it pretty much just consists of like a lot of like the storylines that occurred between like the formation of DX up until WrestleMania 15. Yeah, and it is just like so awesome to really just relive the Attitude Era with all this stuff. Of course, like throughout the matches that you play through in the Attitude Era mode, there are like certain objectives that you have to achieve while playing the matches, and that can be like kind of annoying to do because yeah, you will be trying to do things and it will like kind of like in the way of you like ruining the match, and it could sometimes cost you the match because you're just like taking too long to really achieve them because you're just like unable to because your opponent will like mess you up and stuff, and it could like cost you the match and stuff. Yeah, but yeah, once you do get through it, yeah, it is like very rewarding. And because yeah, there are like a bunch of things to unlock as you go through the Attitude Era mode. You can like actually unlock like various like wrestlers and belts and arenas from the Attitude Era. Like it has like some of the classic championship belts from there, classic attires, Irish classic arenas. Yeah, it even does include like the empty arena from the Rock and Mankind's halftime heat match in 1999. So that's pretty cool. And yeah, and it does have like just various other like old old school like style gimmick wrestlers there to unlock as well. It has like I've talked before how it has like just old school Triple H's like when he was Hunter Hearst Helmsley and when he was like DX Triple H. It has like Mass Kane. It has like the old school Rock. It has old school Shawn Michaels. Yeah, in this game you also even do have like the Thugonomics John Cena to unlock in the game as well. And yeah, and I do like that you actually do it because yeah, you can actually like in the game you can actually have a match between like the current John Cena and the Thugonomics John Cena, which I think is like pretty cool to see. Yeah, and it is like I was saying earlier, it just is cool to actually see just like uh just you can have like the same superstar just face himself in like a different time. So yeah, so it is like cool that you can actually do that in this game. And yeah, in this game, yeah, I really do enjoy it a lot. I mean, I really love the Attitude Era mode. I love that you can unlock just a bunch of classic wrestlers and attires and championship belts and all this other stuff. So yeah, so WWE 13 it really did have like a huge selection of unlockable content to it. And yeah, and WWE 13, I mean, yeah, it really was just a very enjoyable game, and I really did love it a lot, and I thought that it really was like a very nice way for the series to go out. So yeah, WWE 13, yeah, was a really good game, and I really did love it. Yeah. And that was the last of the series until they did branch out to WWE 13. I mean WWE the 2K series. Yeah. Yeah. All right. So yeah, and so yeah, and so that's the WWF and WWE SmackDown series. Like, yeah, I mean, throughout this series, like the games did have like their ups and their downs. Like some games delivered, some didn't. Yeah, but yeah, they all did like at least have like some new features added to them, and yeah, and it did like give like the players at least something to really enjoy about them. So yes, and of course like the SmackDown series, it has still been regarded as like one of the greatest wrestling game series of all time. Like it has had some competitors over the years, but yeah, still the SmackDown series has still been like very strong. Like, yeah, it has still been beloved, and yeah, a lot of people really do still say that the SmackDown series is really like the greatest wrestling game series of all time, especially WWE. So yeah, so the SmackDown series it really did leave a big impact, and yeah, and I'm sure that it'll still be very beloved for years to come. All right, so there you guys go. There is my retrospective of the SmackDown game series from the original all up to WWE 13. So yeah, so I hope you guys did enjoy it. I know this video was like quite long. It was like over an hour and a half, but I mean, I had all these games to talk about, so I just did kind of have a lot. There was really a lot to go through. So yeah, so I hope you guys did stick around for the whole thing. I'm sorry if I did kind of bore you, but yeah, like I said, I just did have a lot to really talk about. Yeah. So what's your favorite wrestling game series? And is there any other wrestling game series that you really want me to talk about? Like, if there's another game or like a wrestling game series that you want me to talk about, comment it on my channel and tell me which other ones you want to. Like, you want me to do a retrospective like this on? Like, you want me to like do a retrospective on the GameCube games? Like, there was only 4 of them, so if I were to do that, it'd be much shorter than this. Or do you want me to talk about the 2K series? I know that the 2K series really hasn't received much love, but if you want me to talk about it, like, I don't really have them, but if you want me to talk about it, like, I'll check out the games and just like tell you guys what I think about them. Like, yeah, they haven't received much love, but are they really as bad as people say? Yeah. So if there's any other wrestling game series that you want me to do a retrospective like this on, comment on my channel and tell me. But yeah, before anybody asks about the Xbox series, like the wrestling games that were on the original Xbox, I'm not going to be talking about those because I've told you guys before that just there were 3 games on the original Xbox, like for the 2 Raw games, WrestleMania 21, which were all pretty bad, so I really don't want to talk about them, so I'm not going to be really talking about those. But if there's any other wrestling game series that you want me to do a retrospective on, comment on my channel and tell me. Alright, but yeah, so yeah, this has gone on very long, so yeah, I think I'm just going to end the video right here. But yeah, so this has been my retrospective of the SmackDown game series. I hope you guys did enjoy this video. Yeah, and yeah, I hope you stuck around for the whole thing. All right, but anyway, so thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.